Today we are doing a collaboration build with Twisted Tentacle Inn, a completely underrated D&D analysis channel that I think you guys should check out. So we're both going to do a build from the same starting seed. He's going to post his on his channel. So after you check out what I've done with this challenge build, you can go see what he did with his. Should be fun. The challenge was to create a character who has a dual personality based off of a coin flip, kind of like Two-Face from Batman. So I considered doing something complicated mechanic-wise, you know, two different builds that based off of your coin flip, you change your build and your personality at the beginning of the day, but I ended up doing something quite a bit different than that. This is the Champion of Sardior. Now, if you don't know who Sardior is, you may know who Bahamut is, the dragon god of good, or Tiamat, the dragon god of evil, but the lesser known god is the dragon god of neutrality, essentially, is Sardior. Now, Sardior is thought to be long dead, but Sardior's followers insist that he's still alive, just scattered throughout the realms. This is one of those followers. This is the Champion of Sardior. So we are going to be a Topaz gem Dragonborn. You can really be any gem Dragonborn, but I went with Topaz because they have resistance to necrotic damage. We're going to be a Paladin, and I just liked the imagery of a Paladin who is resistant to necrotic damage. We're going to be doing a +1/+2 stat array. We're going to end up with a 17 in charisma, 16 in strength, 14 in constitution, 10 in wisdom, and we dump the other 2. So we're going to be a redemption paladin, but our god doesn't speak to us clearly to let us know who should be redeemed and who shouldn't. And that's where the coin comes in. I like to visualize it as a coin of Sardior themselves. On a heads, we save them and do everything in our power to end the conflict with resolution and peace. On the other hand, if we roll a tails, we will ruthlessly end their lives, and that's where the dual personality comes in. And I wanted a combat style that could simultaneously do either or of those. We can either kill people ruthlessly, or we can protect them and end the conflict without hurting anybody. So a couple of notes to make here just for my roleplay. I would not have to flip a coin for everything. If it's a zombie running around hitting people, I know it's evil. I don't have to flip a coin. It's only when there's a question. Whenever I flip the coin, I would give the DM the option to just choose the result, as if, you know, Sardior themselves chose the result, or just let it be random. Completely up to them. And with that, let's move into our levels. Level 1, we're going to start with a breath weapon attack. This is something that we're not really spec'd for. We don't have a great constitution, and it rolls off of constitution, but it is something we do have if we get a big enough crowd to justify it. I usually don't mention skills too much, but in this build we want intimidation and persuasion because that's going to be a big tool for us to resolve conflicts peacefully. And then we have divine sense to give us a sense whether something is good or bad, although it's based off of its creature type, less so than whether it's good or bad, so hit or miss there. And then we have lay on hands, which helps us heal people, potentially our enemies who we're trying to keep alive, but also our teammates and ourselves. At level 2, I'm going the defensive fighting style. We are going to be using a versatile weapon with this build, so sometimes we're going to be swinging two-handed, sometimes we're going to be swinging one-handed. So there's no fighting style that really fits that super well, so thus going the defensive fighting style is always solid and just works for most builds. The reason we are going with a versatile weapon is we're sometimes going to need a free hand to disarm. And before we can talk about first level spells, we really need to talk about the disarm mechanics, because disarming someone is a little known rule, it seems to me. Not many people are aware of this rule. In order to disarm, you roll an attack roll, and then they roll a contested athletics or acrobatics roll. If the attacker wins, then they're disarmed. If the defender wins, then they are not. This is really important for this build because a lot of times we're going to want to disarm our enemy, and then using our free hand, because we are using a versatile weapon, we pick up their weapon and confiscate it from them. So we can begin moving into our level 1 spells now that we have that preamble out of the way. Bless gives us a better 2-hit, which both helps us murder people better or to disarm them better. Wrathful Smite imposes the fear condition, which helps us terrify someone and murder them, or it helps us disarm them because now they have disadvantage on their ability check against being disarmed. Also, just an absolutely banger of a first level spell, so there's that too. Taking command here, command for just, hey, drop, and they drop their weapon and you can pick it up and confiscate it from them. It's just another way of going about it, but it can also be used to say a approach or retreat, which can proc opportunity attacks and bring them closer to you for their death. So you're starting to get the theme here. Everything I'm wanting to do is 2 different options, either a peaceful option or a wholesale murder option. Moving on to level 3, we become a Redemption Paladin. We get 2 channel divinities. One of our channel divinities makes us extra persuasive to end the combat without damage, and the other one does a lot of damage. So depending on what we flip, we can choose our channel divinity from there. Level 4, I'm picking up Dragon Fear, which I'm going to use to bump our charisma. Dragon Fear is insane. It gives us essentially a 3rd level fight winning spell proficiency times a day, and it doesn't matter that we're a martial. The nice thing about this particular fear is it lasts a minute, and they do not get a reroll unless we do damage to them, which means we can attempt to disarm them again and again and again because we're not damaging them and they have disadvantage on those checks. So we could potentially disarm a whole group of people, in which case a bag of holding is actually really important for this build because we disarm, put it in our bag, disarm, put it in our bag, while meanwhile everyone's terrified. Or we can use it to divide and conquer. We fear a group of people and then we systematically murder everyone who's not feared, and then systematically murder one person at a time who is feared. It plays into that ruthlessness where it's not fair, you know, this person is weakened, they may be disarmed, and yet we're still just absolutely beheading them. So this is not a good character. This is a character who is so devout in their beliefs that they're willing to just wholesale murder someone based off of a coin flip. And on the other hand, they can be super kind to whoever they flip a heads on, so they're just kind of crazy, kind of batshit crazy, but could be fun to roleplay. At level 5, because we are Gent Dragonborn, we can now fly for a little bit as a bonus action. This is amazing on Paladins because it allows us to get in close, which Paladins really need to do, in this build especially, because we either need to bring justice or mercy on our enemies, and now we can fly to them. We pick up extra attack and 2nd level spells. We pick up Calm Emotions and Hold Person as our redemption spells. Calm Emotions is great for ending a combat peacefully before it even begins a lot of times, and Hold Person on the other hand is great for disarming as well as killing. Though I will say, if your intention is to disarm, Command just does it better. If they fail to save, they're just disarmed, but holding them down and then murdering them, yeah, that's kind of why we have Hold Person. Level 6, our saves become absolutely baller. Level 7, we get an aura that lets us take damage for our allies. We didn't go deep into Constitution, so this aura is actually not that great for us. Should only be used for dire circumstances to save someone's life or to protect a big concentration. Level 8, we are bumping strength. We need to be pretty balanced between our charisma and strength because we need to be landing our hits to get those disarms off and to murder people. At level 9, we pick up our 3rd level spells. We get Hypnotic Pattern, which is perfect for this thing. It's similar to Dragon Fear. We stun a bunch of people. We can either disarm them, shackle them, or we can systematically butcher them. At level 10, we get another aura. This one makes us immune to fear and our allies around us. And at level 11, we get improved at Divine Smite just to do murder better. So overall, we have a mostly standard paladin for the most part, with an emphasis on a through-line theme of being able to do damage or to end a conflict resolution, and then add the really interesting flavor of flipping a coin in those situations on top and the roleplay that comes from it. I'd say the thing I would be most excited for about this build is how the party interacts with your batshit crazy methodology. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Do they go with you? Do they go against you? And explore all the fun tensions that come from such decisions. But that's just my take on a dual personality by flipping a coin. I'm actually really excited to see what comes up with over at the Twisted Tentacle Inn. So I'm going to go ahead and link that down below and we can go check it out together. See you over there.